Let me move quickly to 5G applications. Okay. So what are the 5G use cases that you can think of? So this is the 5G network, so that I showed before. So what are the use cases? So when you talk about 5G, what do you think 5G will be used for? Gaming, voice call, okay. More devices, high time bitrate. Military and defense, IoT communication, less number of hours, IoT applications, 3D hologram communication, okay. Automated vehicles, health monitoring, ADAS, okay, good. Okay, autonomous vehicle, smart homes, drone tech. Okay, okay, good number. Okay, let's see. I just listed down, okay, few things. So which you have already, most of you have given: healthcare, education, entertainment, IoT, autonomous vehicles, smart cities, and many more. Okay, these are all the applications. Okay, but what we have to think is, okay, what exactly is applicable for India? Okay, so that's what this session is about, right? All these applications, if you look on Google, if you just type 5G use cases, right? If you type 5G use cases, you'll find probably hundreds of use cases or applications of 5G. But what we have to see is what is applicable for Indian context. So before that, let's look at the 5G vision for India. Okay, so if you look at our Department of Telecommunications, right? This is a direct text I have copy pasted from there. So this text is in the Department of Telecommunications, Government of India website. So if you go through this, right, I'll just give you a few seconds. Just go through this 5G vision for India. Okay, now I'll highlight certain thing here, right? So it says clearly that emphasis of 5G should be in touching the lives of rural and weaker economic segments so as to make it truly inclusive technology. Okay, so if you want to work in 5G in future, or if you want to build a career out of that, if you want to do a project, if you want to do a course, right, if you are a faculty, so think of this as the key requirement. So we should look at ways to make 5G helpful for people living in rural areas and also helping people who are economically weaker. Okay, so that's how it should be an inclusive technology. It should not be only for people who have a lot of money, right? It's not only about watching movies or playing online games or doing online purchases. It should not be only for that. It should also help people who are in the rural background and ensure that we are bringing them out of poverty, let's say. Okay, so that should be the purpose of 5G. So that's what is the vision set by the government. Okay, so with this in mind, I'll talk about two applications here. So first is fixed wireless access. Okay, so what this means is this is a use case where we are providing connectivity and net services in rural India. So you are providing internet access. So as we know very well that rural areas are not well connected today by high-speed internet. So they have internet probably, but the speed is very low. So what we want to do is we provide a fixed wireless access. So it's called fixed wireless internet access because you have a tower like this, okay? And this is a 5G tower. This provides 5G signal. This is a home which receives that 5G network. And within the home, you can connect it through, let's say, Wi-Fi or whatever technology you want to use. Within the home can be Wi-Fi or 5G, but outside the home, you want it to be a high-speed signal connection. Okay, and this is called a fixed wireless because if you remember, we were talking about previously about mobility. That means I told you that I should be getting, let's say, 1 Gbps or 5 Gbps of data rate when I'm moving in a car at 100 kilometers per hour, or I'm traveling in a train. So all those are examples where the user is moving. But in this case, this is a house, right? It's not going to move anywhere. It's in a fixed location. But the people within the house, especially in rural areas, they also require high-speed internet. So fixed wireless access is an application or a use case which is used to provide high-speed internet to such areas. Okay. So for example, Jio and Airtel are looking at a lot of, are looking at FWA as a biggest market for them, because the penetration in India, especially in rural areas, is very low. Okay. And this they see as a very big market. Okay. Other application is remote healthcare. So if you look at 5G, right, there are a lot of things that can help today in healthcare. So we know that, again, people who come from economically weaker background and also in rural areas, they lack critical healthcare mainly due to lack of money is one reason. Second is they don't have hospitals with experts close by, right? So there are no hospitals where they can go and get that expert treatment. So 5G is a probably a way where they can get all these services just by sitting at home. Okay, let's say you have an FWA, that is fixed wireless access 5G network, to your home in a rural area, and then connecting with the doctor should be relatively easy, right? So what are the different things that we look at healthcare? So you look at 5G and telemedicine, augmented reality in healthcare, clinical collaboration. That means you can talk to experts from different areas, right? And then communicate, those experts can communicate and give you a solution. Then computer aided diagnostics and medical imaging. So if the X-ray and scanning is done remotely, let's say, the machine itself can do the diagnostics. You don't need a doctor for that. So similarly, there can be connected ambulances, right? When there is an emergency, it directly directs you to the right place, right hospital, based on the criticality. And then remote patient monitoring, remote surgery. So these are the various ways where healthcare can take a big boost because of 5G. Okay, so this example I'm giving you because this is very relevant to Indian context, healthcare and having a fixed wireless access. So think of the previous slide where I said about fixed wireless access. It will also help in education, right? We have seen this during COVID. So people in cities were able to get were able to have online classes, but students, they had a big disadvantage because they were in rural areas, they were not able to get quality education.
Healthcare applications of 5G. I did not understand what remote surgery 5G means. So, is it possible in India or has it happened?
Yeah. I actually read an article. I think Apollo, right? Apollo has started knee replacement surgery, which is remote surgery. Basically, the robot is going to replace the knee of a patient.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, what are the other questions? How are these fixed wireless access network gonna compete with satellite-based internet providers such as Airtel, OneWeb, Starlink? Okay, so fixed wireless internet, right? Basically, it's not about competition. It's about, let's say, everything is going to work together. So there can be satellite communication. So if you read about 6G, right? So now we are talking about 5G. There is something called a 6G, which is going to come, let's say, in another few years. So 6G also talks about using cellular communication in conjunction with satellite communication. So basically, you are going to use a web of satellites, towers, everything, and then provide connection to 5G network. So that's how things are going. They're all going to merge. How 5G can be applicable for villages in medical use. So that's the example I gave, Om Prakash. So if you have a good internet connection, right, at least your doctor can do a remote monitoring of you, of the patient, right? Instead of, because it takes time to go from the village to a nearest hospital. At least the advantage is that time can be saved.
So currently, mostly the mobile 5G, what they call, I think that is giving more business and people are using that more. And on network side, it is non-standalone. When we say, then it is the 4G network only. So all these applications are related to 5G network, basically. I think not related to that wireless last end communication. So how do you think that this kind of applications can come with the 5G or current scenario?
Okay. Yeah. So one thing, right? When we are talking about 5G, right? Like how I told you, unlike till 4G, right? Mobile phone was the main application. Mobile phone was the key application. So companies used to design the network so that it caters to mobile phones. Okay. So 5G, the picture that I showed you about 3 pillars, right? So remember that 3 pillar. It's very important because only eMBB is used on the mobile phone. The other 2 is where these applications come into picture. Okay. If you're doing a remote surgery, you want a URLLC kind of a feature. You want that network to be reliable. That network has to be low latency. Let's say the doctor is doing a remote surgery, right? The latency has to be very low. Otherwise, it's kind of a risky thing to do a surgery. Okay. So I don't know if I answered your question, but 5G is much more than mobile phones. So companies are not even banking on getting their revenue from mobile phones, because most of us probably today have pretty good internet speed. Okay, it may increase more, but I don't know what we are going to do with more. Let's say I get 1 Gbps. What am I going to do more with 10 Gbps of data? Right? What else as a user? What else am I going to do with 10 Gbps of data if I have 1 Gbps of data today? Right? So they may not be a real use case for me as a user.
Okay.
But these kind of applications require those separate features which were not there in previous technologies.
Okay.
So you can imagine that 5G, the biggest revenue generation is non-mobile phones.
Yeah, so you are telling that opportunities will come when we are working for the weaker sections and the remote places. So
I correct. I picked these 2 examples, but if you look at Western countries, right, they're not looking at these kind of scenarios because that's not applicable for them. Like if you look at US, right, Tesla is fully focusing on autonomous driving, right? Driverless car. Like for India, we don't need a driverless car. Let's be very honest about it. We don't need a driverless car because it's not going to work in our scenario.
okay.
You require a very good traffic system first of all for a driverless car to work.
Okay. So currently, whenever people think of these days, talk about 5G, it's mostly that wireless mobile phone communication.
Mobile phone, yeah. Everybody talks about mobile phone, and companies are also today marketing mobile phone because they want users to pick up, mobile phone, because that's easy to market, right? For you to, if I have to sell you, right, I can say that, hey, upgrade your phone from 4G to 5G. That's easy to do, rather than convincing a hospital to say that, okay, take my 5G network.
So there, I think mostly it is like this fiber optic network or background network, that wired network with high speed. It's what is going to flourish in business.
Yeah, the back end between, like how I showed you, between the RAN and core, right? That is still a wired network, like the fiber optic cables.
Okay.
Okay.
So the RAN is like Wi-Fi. Those kind of technologies also competing with that new radio, whatever the mobile phone is using.
Yeah, Wi-Fi is also competing. So I have another session, I think next month or month after that, where I'm going to talk about Wi-Fi and 5G. I'm going to compare both the technologies.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a competing technology. Wi-Fi is a competing technology today.
Okay.
Okay, I'll quickly move. So you have to also write the quiz. So this is a quick example. I've just taken a picture. Let's say this is a user, right? And he does something here, and that information goes here, and then the robot does here, and that feedback comes, right? And that feedback can come from a robot, can come from a camera, can come from various sensors, and then some action can be taken. Okay, this is an example of use case where you use 5G, right? 5G is basically used in this part. Okay, if you ask me where is 5G in all this, 5G is this part where you transmit something, you receive something, and it has to happen, let's say very fast. It has to be very reliable. It has to have a certain bandwidth, certain data rate, and all that, right? Where we talk about network slicing and all that. So those things all come here. So 5G comes here, and the communication happens between two devices or people here. So I'm the founder of company DTRI. So it's an upskills company where we do embedded systems, IoT, and 5G technology certification programs. And we also do placement for engineering students. So you can contact us. So there is a website that you can visit, dtri.in. You can also connect through, you can send me an email, or you can also send WhatsApp message on this number. if you have any questions. So please join our LinkedIn group. So you can type Deshila Technology Research Institute on LinkedIn, and you can join our page there. And you can also ask questions there, and also about any new events that we are conducting. So we frequently update this page with our events. And just to give you a quick glimpse of what we are doing in terms of research. So so we are based out of Mysore in Karnataka, and we have our own 5G test bed. So this is the picture of 5G test bed, which is used for education purpose. So if you see here, I've written the use cases. So we use it for EMBB focused configuration, some kind of testing and all that. Mainly used for education and research. And we have collaborated with the Institute of Science, Bangalore. Department of Science and Technology has funded this program. And we are based at SJC Step Mysore.